Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for week 8 of Survivor 49. My name is Mike Bloom, and we are here to talk about quite the interesting week. Lots of decisions made by production, fostering a sort of unlikely scenario, especially considering that out of a group of 5, 3 of them were on the chopping block, and it culminated in what it might have been the first live tribal of the season. Or was it? We have a new advantage to talk about. We are now looking ahead at a underdog group of 3 that might have all the advantages in their pockets. There's a lot to get into. But first, I'm so happy to welcome in, as always, the person who would never split away from me, especially to talk about this split tribal council, Liana Boraas.
I would try to win immunity if it meant me being safe and sending you to tribal council. I'm sorry, Mike.
Listen, I get it. It's a shrewd game. It's an independent game. You do you. And we got the opportunity to have one Survivor YouTuber win an advantage where they got to visit our podcast and podcast alongside us. Now, Peridiam, you could have chosen to bank your appearance for a later episode, but you did choose to appear on this one. So I'm happy to welcome you in this week.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I actually was gonna go grab, now that you said, I was like, oh, I've got a couple of like immunity necklaces behind me, or idols or whatever. I could just go grab one, put it on, pretend like I'm Savannah, just here to like ruin the vibe, just kill the vibes. And now we're gonna go in a completely different direction now that the podcast has started. We were just talking prior to the podcast starting, and it was like we were good. But now that I'm here, everything's rancid and it's about to go in a completely different direction. So sorry, I don't know which one you're about to get voted out, but it's not me.
Well, let's talk about your thoughts on the season so far and how rancid they might be. Again, I've talked about this the past couple of weeks, and it does feel like the common opinion is first few episodes, maybe a little bit on the slower side, a little bit more conventional, predictable with the vote outs, and the gas has firmly been turned on for the past few episodes. Do you agree? And what were your thoughts about this most recent episode specifically?
Yeah, not a crazy hot take. I mean, yeah, I thought the first 4 or 5 episodes was like, cool, we are surviving. This is Survivor. We're doing it. We're punching them in. We're punching in, punching out every day. And then it got to the Savannah and the stage of it all, which I thought was really fun. And then the merge episode I really enjoyed, particularly because they're like, you're merged. I was like, Jeff said the merge word. We're merged. We've learned what it means to merge in Survivor again. Took 9 seasons to get back to it. Because I'm like, last season they literally just merged, but he didn't say it was a merge. I'm like, this is a merge. And then they did it. And it was fun because I'm like, I felt like the main characters all got blindsided. And I was like, this is kind of reminding me a little bit of like, like if Todd and Amanda weren't in the driver's seat in China or something. The players that I thought they've got the advantages. They seem to have like, they got the airtime. They've got the wind in their sails. And it's not, how is this supposed to work out? This is fascinating. This piqued my interest now. And here we are again, where I'm like, okay, they're at the bottom. Oh, we got, new era Survivors starting to mix it up a little bit. We're back where we used to be. I remember this feeling. We got the merge, but now we're back to a tribe swap in the post merge, and half the tribe is immune, but then one person's going to the other one and they get a secret advantage, and it's all over the place again. What's new? But that's Survivor, man. We're back to surviving on Survivor. I think it was a bit of a mixed bag, not my favorite episode, but I thought it was pretty fun for the most part. I enjoyed myself. It's weird because I'm watching the episode, I'm paying attention and I'm like locked in, and I really enjoyed the post immunity like carousel of just people like ratting on each other, essentially. Kind of reminded me of like a Big Brother, where I'm like, everyone's just sort of going from room to room, throwing each other under the bus, almost unintentionally. And I enjoyed it. But I just was like, I kind of still wish we had 10 people on a beach a little bit. Alex and Sophie B are out. Soph is gone. What? They should be here. Come on, bring them over. Like, everyone should come over. Let's just all bring them back over, guys. Anyway, but I'm enjoying it. It's pretty fun still. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like we're going to have a better second half than the first half. So.
We'll see. I do feel a little bit of that like start stop energy, where I was like, yes, let's go, everybody together, and we're gonna see how these relationships turn out and all these dynamics, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And then it was just like, oh, psych, not yet. Now, that being said, it was still interesting to watch how that group of 5 ultimately ended up playing out, especially given some of the strategic decisions that were made, with MC ratting out Sophie, putting the vote on Jawan. Like, that was all super fascinating. But it almost felt like kind of like a bottle episode to be fair. Like it felt like we had this main storyline, like this main plot that we were kind of going on, and then we kind of took this like little offshoot to do like the B plot of the story, even though obviously it has major ramifications for the main part of the story. I did watch the sneak peek for next week. For the next week's episode. And there will be, I think, some major ramifications for this decision of ultimately getting out MC. But at least in that exact moment, it just felt like a little bit of a deviation because it was just so excited to finally have everybody together. But that being said, it is just interesting watching how these players are making decisions because it's a little bit baffling to me sometimes, but like, that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Listen, I'd rather have questionable but discussion-worthy gameplay over, the straightforward, more conservative gameplay that maybe we saw from the first 5 episodes. And not to bemoan their decisions too much. Yeah, that's where I sort of lie with this episode, is that I don't love the sort of manipulated circumstance it took for us to get to this outcome, right? Like, think about the fact that we had this dynamic of 9 versus 3, and then it took A, the split tribal twist. B, the tribe splitting out specifically this way where Rizzo is by himself. Like, if Rizzo was with a Soph or a Savannah and none of them had immunity, like, this idol play or non-idol play may not work out as well. And then even then, at least MC has said that, like, even with Rizzo having the idol, the plan was still to pile on him until Savannah shows up. So then you have that added on, and that's when things really start to kind of spin out of control. So it's not like I didn't like the stuff that was happening. As you mentioned, I especially love the sort of round robin of, okay, Sophie has a plan to throw a vote onto Jawan. MC tells that plan to Jawan. Jawan turns it on to Sophie, but then Jawan is also like, Sophie's now turning on to MC as well, but she doesn't want MC to know about it, but MC's very much clocking it. And so there was a lot of cool stuff to watch, I think, especially from a character like Sophie, who we really knew not a lot about until the post-merge kicked off. And I was duped. I absolutely thought she was going here just because she was the quieter of the two. It felt like even after that idol play, MC had a lot more narrative momentum to her than Sophie. And so I was a bit surprised by it all, especially because we were also kind of left in the dark as to what was going on at Tribal Council, considering they did one of my pet peeves of the pre-41 seasons during live tribals, which is not showing us what was whispered to just leave us in the dark so we have no clue how it all came together.
Live tribals are back, baby. We're back to this old school Survivor now. Unsubtitled live tribals.
That's the thing. I'm okay with a live tribal, but please, like, just some subject, just like Mama wants a taste. Like, I just want a little bit of knowledge to know what's going on here.
Knowledge is power.
I know. And unlike Sophie B, whatever we're calling her. I don't have it. And like, it's so disappointing. I wish we had gotten, I would have loved to have known what MC said before she left. Like and I mean, I don't know, who knows? Like maybe we'll get a confessional where Jawan is going to be like, oh, here, MC pulled me aside and said whatever. But like, I just really want to know.
There was, I did listen to her exit interview where I think, was that with you, Mike, or that was Rob's sister, asked her like, so what exactly did you say to Jawan when you pulled him aside at the live tribal? And she did talk about a little bit about that. It was sort of just reaffirming, like they were trying to get a 2-2-2 split, I think.
Yeah, and at the very least, basically it's like she wanted, her and Jawan were going to vote for Sophie so that if Rizzo and Savannah put their 2 votes onto somebody else and Sophie and maybe
MC.
Sage voted for her, then it would be a 2-2-2 tie, and then they just vote out Rizzo on the revote. And it just did not end up coming to fruition. Obviously, there are some other circumstances that MC ascribes to, the reason why she opens up to Jawan, in particular, wanting to, ironically enough, combat the unfortunate stereotype that has come about, or trend, I should say, that Black people end up getting voted out at a version of the split tribal, basically for the past, 7 seasons of the new era, only for herself to go out in the process. So, yeah, there was a lot that we didn't necessarily see, and I feel like they pieced together a narrative, right? Was MC was the Madam Web, ironically MCU, in that her web connected everybody. And that was, I think, the much better play. It's something we talk about all the time, right? Which is like, if you have these 2 options, and one of them is such a big target that people on the other tribe are speculating that she's going to go, like, why not keep that person in? Because it's clear that you could use this as leverage to get her on your side. And so I really do think, granted, a lot of things had to fall into the favor of Rizzo and Savannah and company, but like they played the hand that they were dealt with incredibly effectively.
Yeah, I did so on rewatch, I was able to really like focus. I was like, how did this? Because I thought Sophie was going to go as well initially, but then on the rewatch, looking now, obviously knowing MC is going, it did make a lot more sense when I started to be able to feel like, okay, Sage seemingly is going to Sophie here. That's a pretty big scene telling me where Sage is lying. Her vote might lie. Jawan obviously is going to go with Sage, and at that point, Rizzo and Savannah clearly locked in after realizing. And then, to be fair, Savannah comes over with this nugget drop of like, the other people are all over there thinking Sophie's going because she's not that connected or whatever. So maybe we go for MC. And I'm like, oh, if Savannah doesn't show up, does Rizzo change his tune? Because he was originally like, I'll go with wherever the wind's going. I'll just tell me where to go. And then when Savannah comes, he's like, oh, okay, we're in the driver's seat now. Let's go. And I'm like, okay, interesting. That dramatically changes the direction of the outcome, on top of the fact that MC also then throws Sophie under the bus to Jawan, who then throws MC under the bus, who then, interestingly, I did note, I don't know why, like when Sage tells Sophie what Jawan told her, is there any friction? Is that like they're on the same terms? We never really saw the Sage and Jawan connection that much.
Yeah, it's weird. They were sort of regarded as like a block. I mean, I
So
guess this
I
bottoms
guess
up
they're on the
alliance
same-
was like forged in steel from this one Shannon vote.
There were two duos with Sophie and MC, and Sophie and MC obviously had that awkward scene, but then I didn't see anything come from Jawan and Sage. When Sage goes, hey, Jawan told me this stuff, Jawan clearly finds that out. We don't see him acknowledge that. I'm like, how did he feel about Sage telling Sophie that? Like now Sophie, it goes all the way back in a weird carousel of throwing each other under the bus unintentionally. I don't know. I'm like, oh, we didn't see that. So I wonder how that, but obviously they came together. So I guess they smoothed it over or didn't really mind. Maybe they're on the same page at the end of the day, more than MC and Sophie were. But I did enjoy that part of the episode. I was like, oh, this could be like a weird, if they all had all 10 of them on the beach. Are we looking at like a slightly smaller version of David Goliath, where the people at the Davids have all the advantages and are at the bottom? And now we might actually still get that next week anyway.
Yeah,
actually we might get that even more now with Savannah having an extra vote. But what we got, I'm like, this was actually a really fun final five. As MC said in her interview I listened, she's like, it kind of felt like we were at the final five and we were throwing each other under the bus to make sure we made it to the final four. But unfortunately, it wasn't the final five. And then it became a final six with Savannah, who also couldn't vote, which is like, who's in a final five with a sixth person who can't vote? What do we do? That's great. That's wild.
I wonder if maybe that is the key philosophy to why Jeff is obsessed with small tribes. Is he sort of feels like, well, basically these tribes are playing a final six from the very beginning, which like, is it actually the case from a logical perspective? Like, yes, maybe on paper, if there are six people around, they are a final six of their tribe, but they're not going to play like the final six. And I think they got lucky here in that were playing like a final five, and there were so many names being thrown around. But again, it was due to a lot of circumstances that also got rolled in at the same time.
Right. Very new era Survivor showing up here on the doorstep.
Yeah, very much so. And I think also you've got like lingering. So yeah, I mean, the part of the reason why it's not though a final five or final six is you have people referencing connections outside of that. Okay, so maybe you could
driving force.
Yeah, it really was. Future immunities, right? Which I guess maybe you could consider like at the final five, final six, like that does matter, especially now with final four fire making. But the other thing is like really keeping into fact the MC idol play, which we hear Jawan especially mentioned multiple times. Sage at the beginning of the episode also is like, hey, like, why didn't you tell us about that? Which is so interesting to me because then I go back and I'm like, okay, well, Savannah knew, obviously. She found her finding it.
Yeah.
Rizzo knew. So why was that not communicated more? Why wouldn't MC, if I was MC, I would be like, Savannah found me finding this. I've had it since there. I didn't have a vote, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know. Like, I just feel that I'm like, did MC tell nobody about the idol? Did she tell maybe some of the other members of Hina?
So what MC told me was that there was an audience involved in the infamous key scuffle. She says that I think it was Alex,
just out of frame.
Alex, Christina, and Steven. Yeah, exactly. They walked up on her during that. And so she, I think, kind of felt it was a state secret. I was a little confused as to like, was Jawan angry that she didn't tell him about the idol, or was he angry that she played it? You know, like
That's what I was thinking too. I
that's
started,
why I think it's more so the latter of like, we know you have an idol.
Yeah.
I told you this plan. Why did you still play your idol?
because they were saying in
Mhm.
confessionals like, oh, she didn't tell us. But then I'm like, I think this is more of a, why did you end up playing it? You didn't need to play it. And I think Joanna initially was like, yo, what's that about? Like, you don't trust me? Like, and MC does explain her logic, which I think is very sound. And she's like, look, she does say like so many people knew about it. It puts a target on your back. And at the first merge vote, you don't know exactly where everyone's going. You think you do, but look at Savannah, look at Rizzo, look at Nate. Suddenly, if they had an idol, they would have loved to have played it. You know, you don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean,
You just don't know.
That's the thing, and that's something that you and I talked about last week, Liana, right? How like the idol finds this season, and this even starts off by talking about the defensive idol finds versus the offensive idol finds of like, okay, well, maybe Jawan was pissed off that, oh, MC played one. That means there's an idol that's not on our quote unquote side. Now Christina ends up finding it, so it's all kind of a wash anyway. But I wonder if maybe that was also incorporated into his logic as well.
Yeah. I mean, although at this stage, now I feel like so many wrenches have been thrown into all of the plans with MC being the one to go. And I do feel like we knew, well, okay. Theoretically, based on what the edit was telling us, is that there was some tension on Hina anyway, especially between Sophie S and Christina, with Christina being the one to put Sophie's name, I think, under, like, put it out as the decoy vote for one of the pre-merge tribals or something they didn't end up going to. But still, that pissed Sophie S off. So there's still some conflict there. So really, when you look at the original Hina, there's 3, and 2 of them potentially don't get along. So I just think that there's so much more fluidity than what it felt like to even last week's episode, where it was just like, all right, well, Nate's going, and then maybe it's kind of how they get around this idol. They split the votes, whatever, bing, bang, bosh, like we're done. And then it's a steamroll. But no, now, as a consequence of this, and I think also because of what actually happened on the beach with those 5, that I think there's more seeds of distrust being sown, where now moving into the next episode, not only do you have a theoretical minority with all the tools, but they might not even be the real minority, because when you have other people being pulled together, and Alex, for example, being like, I don't care, I'll go wherever the numbers are, who knows, maybe he feels like he's going to flock to power now that MC is gone, for example. So it just feels like what felt so incredibly solid like 1 week ago now feels so much more fluid.
And it's like 24 hours, and this is all happening in the span of 24 hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I was like, Savannah like completely crashed out over the span of like 12 hours, and now she's like back on top, baby.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely wild. I mean, it does help that, she wins.
Wild day.
Talk about the reward with all the fixins. Like, gets immunity for half her tribe, gets to, in theory, go over to the other tribe and vote, and then also gets an extra vote in the process. Like, this might be one of the most loaded up immunity wins I've ever seen. I do also want to offer, like, because the split tribal, I think, I don't know. I think maybe opinions vary, especially with like results oriented. I still don't like it as a twist, especially when you're 1 vote into the merge. Feels like it's kind of halting the momentum, as you both mentioned before. Was this one of the most interesting outcomes we've seen from a split tribal?
I do. Yeah, I think so for sure. Yeah, I've looked into it a lot, because I remember like when it happened on 44, and the online community was like just in an outrage about it. They really didn't like it. I think it's happened pretty much to some degree, whether it's 2 people going or 1 person going. Like last season was, I think, a total dud. I think it was the Say and Cedric boots, which is just like the 2 people at the bottom, they both go. Okay, we're back here. And that's when it just turned into like, okay, the pecking order was happening. This was a lot different, where I think this is going to profoundly change the rest of the season. I think they're like, okay, the majority alliance is formed. We might get a steamroll, but first we're going to add on an extra addition where we're going to blow up the majority, and then back to your regularly scheduled insane Survivor. Everybody's running around with chickens with their heads cut off. And I don't love it either. I'm not a big fan of it personally. I've always said it's like, I try to view it as like a swap in the post merge instead of the pre merge. If you can contort the pre merge, why not do the post merge? And I'm like, yeah, but I love the post merge because it's individual. Whereas in the pre merge, what's fascinating is you're mixing up the tribe dynamics. If people are meeting each other for the first time, and it can radically change the pre merge portion, which leads to the merge, which is the climax of the first half of the season. And it's like you're at the pinnacle, and then this is when all the armies are marching together to meet the battle of the 5 armies or whatever, the 3 armies. And then
I mean, listen, yeah, and sometimes they perform about as well as that movie did.
Right. Well, yeah, okay. And sometimes, but then they're like, but wait, now we're going to go back and spend an extra hour and a half just on the tribe. And so that does sort of throw me for a wrench. I thought this was a very fun, like, of all of them to have happened, this might even be the most interesting of them all. And this is going back to season 36 is when I think they first did it. So we're looking at like 13-ish seasons going back.
Yeah, let's do a quick little rewind through Survivor history here. So 36, nothing doing. I guess the most interesting one was the Michael Yerger vote, which was when Wendell may have been in danger, right? Because Kellen was looking to use the extra vote, and then Wendell was able to get essentially Laurel and Kellen to split their votes. It was like the most in danger Wendell and Dominic had ever been the entire game.
I think it might be the most impressive part of Wendell's game, actually. So I have talked about it a few times on my YouTube channels. It's actually a pretty good moment for what it's worth, the first time they ever did it. So
yeah. And then we have 41. The Nasir boot was interesting, if only because
you also did 39 Island.
Oh yeah, we had a 39, and that was the Aaron,
Missy
boot,
right?
Not really, but the Missy boot was interesting at least because she was really shocked. That was her trying to get rid of Tommy to get closer to Lauren, and they turn it on her. She had a big reaction. 41, we had the Nasir vote, which was interesting in that it had Ricard and Shan defensively playing the extra vote, and I remember there was a lot of talk as to like, okay, why did they split their votes? And this is when we found out about like what carries through on a tie. Otherwise, the Evie boot was straightforward. 42 was definitely the most talked about. Certainly one result of the split tribal, to the point where MC was thinking of that tribal, which informed her decision in this tribal, but obviously everything going on with Marianne and Drea. And the Rock Rider thing was interesting, at least in that like he got betrayed by his newfound bros.
Oh yeah, they had a bros alliance all of a sudden form or something, and then it, like they all got forced to go to tribal without any of the women.
Yep. 43 had like 43 had the interesting blind side of James Jones, at least, where they had they had them steal Owen's vote to create this facade so James wouldn't use knowledge as power, and then like the Ryan vote lays a lot of seeds down, because isn't that the thing that like Cassidy claims is her big thing, and then you had Gabler and Cody and Jesse being like, no, actually, we did it. So maybe that was a moment that helped win Gabler the season. You mentioned 44. I feel like at the time we regarded that as like one of the worst episodes of Survivor ever. 45 had a straightforward Sifu boot, and even though Jake tried to get something going with the rock draw, had Caleb going. 46 had the Tim boot, which the only intrigue there was the Yanus arguing with each other, and then the soda boot was interesting in that it was, all the Namis just, it was almost like this thing where
Tevin and Liz like trying to get a scalp or something like that.
Yeah, so it all should have theoretically been, it was all Nami and Charlie. And so it's like, okay, he's the easy person to get rid of, but all the Nami were so hungry to turn on each other that they just all threw each other under the bus. And then that informs the next time out when Tevin and Venus are arguing over who got the credit for the soda blind side.
And Liz was like, I got the credit or something, right?
And then that's what leads to a blindside Tevin too, because she's like, he should be taking the blame for it. 47 had the Tiana stuff, which was interesting, but I think very advantage.
Reminded me of 44 a little bit with Matt almost.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah,
this is even like a bigger game-changing outcome, right? Where it's like Rachel would have gone, but Saul finds this thing at the last minute. And then, as you mentioned, 48 had some pretty rote say and Cedric boots. So I would say this is like top 3, if not number 1.
I think it's probably the most interesting. I enjoyed rewatching the whole segment of before Savannah shows up and after Savannah shows up. Pre-Savannah, post-Savannah. I thought it was fun. I generally enjoyed it. I'm like, this would be a really fun final 5, final 6 dynamic. That's the one caveat. I'm like, but we're not. We're at the final 10. I love final 10. So that's the one. But yeah, I thought it was I think it is probably my favorite of the splits now that we just went through all of them. Because not all of them are, well, there was only one though. It's tough when you have 2. Because sometimes one's good and one's not so interesting. And then I'm like, well, it's a little bit, you trade this for that. In this case, it was just one, and it was pretty fun. So
yeah, I think also, obviously we haven't seen exactly how it's going to play out, but in terms of long-term ramifications also, I do feel like this is one of the most impactful of those kind of split tribal dynamics. So again, we'll see, but it does certainly feel like the tides have started to shift just simply over the course of this one episode. I think for me, the other thing that was interesting was to have the other 4, right? Okay, so they're just like sitting there eating, and then all of a sudden Savannah just goes by on a
Uh,
boat.
I was
And they're
just
just like, what is happening? Like, what do they think is going on? Like, Savannah just got abducted and did not come home.
Oh my,
Yeah.
imagine if they watched like human trafficking happen. That she's like
Yeah.
waving and she's like, "No, I'm saying help."
Help,
And they're
help,
like, "Bye,
help.
Savannah."
Yeah, no, this is I'm saying help. Yeah, because they seemingly didn't know. Like she, obviously they knew that she was going off to tree mail, but then it's not like she came back and said, like, hey, bye guys, like I'm actually going over there. The next
Yeah.
time they see her, she's just like going
Just
by
left
on
them
the
in the
boat.
dust, you know?
Which I
Yeah.
love that. I like the idea of like, because otherwise, if someone else had found this, it might have been a way for them to come back and be like, okay, let's work on a plan. What do we all want to do? Sort of like what happened
Yeah.
with Saul, right? Where like he was able to
Yeah.
tell them about it. No, that I don't think he did, right? Because he pulled Rachel aside
know if he
after that and was
did.
like, oh yeah, by the way, it was me.
Mhm.
But I think that this allows her to kind of like think on her toes a little bit more. And just to your point, Liana, the fantastic image of her maybe being like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then the next thing you see is just her going by on a boat. I cannot imagine the questions
She
that were
just
going through
hijacked
her
and
head.
paid a guy off in Fiji to just travel around. She's like, I'm just going to the other beach. You know what? Screw this.
She's escaped.
Well, what do we think about Savannah's advantage here? Because I've seen a lot of people in the moment at least say that this was, one of the more interesting advantages they've seen in some time, not only getting to drop in on the other group, but also being able to essentially, this is a thing we haven't seen in a long time, I think, which is the bank a vote advantage, which is okay, if you expend your vote now, you can save another one for later. This case, it was more so like, this was kind of playing with house money, right? Like you didn't have a vote and then you got one offered to you. So you're like, yeah, I might as well pocket it at this point. Do we like this?
I would have liked it more if she didn't have it, so maybe I don't like it. But I will say, like, the extra vote is one of the weakest advantages in the game, maybe even the weakest. I've looked at I've charted this stuff for YouTube videos, and I found like it almost never plays a part. Now, with the tight numbers that they are, and the fact that she's in the minority, it may actually be a huge thing going forward. Considering we're at the final 9 now, and nobody knows she even has it really, except for like Rizzo. So it's a little bit of like, wow, there it does feel a little bit heavy-handed, like the producers are putting, but also it feels a little convenient. Like, not saying they gave it to Savannah. I just think I'm like, this could have easily gone the wrong direction too, where if we had Savannah and Rizzo on the minority tribe, the tribe that lost, and then they were down 3-2, but maybe they have an idol or something, or maybe they even had a 3-2 advantage with Sophie there, Soph. And it was Savannah and Rizzo and Soph against 2. And they're like, oh, they've got, for 1 minute, they've got the upper hand. And then all of a sudden, who knows? Steven flies over there, and all of a sudden or Sophie goes, or whoever wins immunity goes over there. And now it's 3-3. And I'm like, that kind of killed, but I don't know. It worked out in this case. To an extent, I don't know. I'm like, look, I wish the whole boat just carried all 4 of them over, and then we just had 10 on one side. I was like, at least we're getting there. We're making baby steps, getting the merge tribe back together, getting the band back together. Like, 1 is good. I wish we had 5, but I'll take 1 at least. At least it's another person. She's got immunity normal in post merge. There's somebody with an immunity necklace. Somebody, I'm like, we're watching survivors surviving. But anyway, that was my thoughts on it. It wasn't like the worst thing ever, but
Yeah, I mean, I thought, well, first of all, does it have a name? Because it's kind of like is it just a bank a vote? Is that all it's called? Because it's also like secret go over to the other tribe and then also maybe possibly bank a vote. Like,
Yeah,
what do you call
it's this
that?
interesting
It
thing
was a
where it was sort of
huge
like, it was like
advantage.
combining 2 things where it was just kind of
Yeah.
rebranding the bank a vote into a new name.
Yeah. You also get to go over there and theoretically, because I mean, I guess like Savannah didn't really, and remind me, Savannah didn't really tell them like, hey, like she is just coming over to vote, right?
Yeah,
That's all
she
they
didn't
think
say
is
that she had the
happening.
option to bank it. She said that just she is voting tonight. And this is technically a take on an advantage that we didn't see, but this happened in the premiere of Survivor 45 where Kendra went to the Lulu tribe.
Oh, they didn't even air that, did they?
Yeah, so she got to visit for the day, and she got to cast a vote at that tribal council, and then she like
wild
GTFO'd. It's just because Hannah quit that they didn't show any of it.
They just cut that out of that episode, didn't they?
Yeah, because it didn't matter.
A whole vote was there. A whole new player was on the beach. None of it showed. That's wild. That's like
yeah,
that puts purpling
Survivor 45.
That's like purpling to a new level. That's like, oh my gosh. But I think also like the advantage, really one of the biggest advantages, as we saw with the result, was just Savannah just put her feet down on that beach. That was the real big advantage, more than the extra vote, I think.
Yeah.
Just Savannah's presence in the midst with Rizzo having an idol. It was like, it's over. Like, they're toast. This 4-people alliance, they're over. They got nothing. And this is on top of the fact they had already begun unraveling. And then Savannah shows up. It's like, oh
no,
man,
see,
salt in the wound.
That's really what I think it was. Like, I
Yeah.
really do strongly feel that, like, because they were already starting to unravel, Savannah showing up was just the extra little, like, kick, you know, like the straw that broke the camel's back, potentially. Because I think that there's a universe where then they can kind of get it together and maybe still pile all their votes on Rizzo. But then almost like, and I'm sure you're just thinking irrationally, you're just like, well, F me then. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just bringing over all his allies, like, whatever.
Yeah, like, clearly the Survivor gods do not want the Riz god to go here. I mean,
Yeah.
and it makes a little bit of sense because remember, Sophie's big plan on paper was, okay, it's going to be like 3 to 1 to 1, right? Where it's going to be 3 votes on Rizzo. I throw a vote onto Juwan. Rizzo will vote for whoever. If he plays the idol, worst case scenario, it's a 1-1 tie. If Rizzo has another vote on his side, which Savannah is saying that she has, then you can't tie it, right? You can't necessarily, because you only have 4 votes. You can't really, I guess you could go, maybe this is what MC was going for, like try to do the 2-2-2, but I feel like it's just so tough to do when the numbers are so tight. And one of the reasons why I think this is also chaotic is like some of these Hinas, like Sophie S and MC, this is only the second time they've ever voted in their Survivor career. So like they're still kind of trying to get their feet under them.
Yeah, which I do think is somewhat of a detriment to the 3-tribe format, which is why I'm like, hey, 2 tribes, not such a bad idea. Sometimes it forces everyone in the show to be on the show. And I think that's nice. And then we get to the merge and everyone sort of got their battle wounds and stuff. And they've all been to tribal. You've got like Christina, who's been to like 1 tribal, I think, the whole season at the final 9.
So far, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, the Nate vote. Well, and the other thing too to keep in mind is Sophie S had immunity and MC played an idol. So this is also the first tribal where they are actually exposed that and could theoretically go home. So yeah, I think for that reason it was just such utter chaos, because then you're just trying to do all these things, but at the end of the day, self-preservation kicks in, I'm sure. And then, you know, Juwan and Sage are just like, well, what the hell are we supposed to do? Fine,
and also
whatever.
Another huge element that like is not really mentioned, but they don't know for sure what, like, Savannah is lying, first of all, but they don't even know to what extent she's lying.
Yeah.
Unlike on Big Brother, where you can't lie about superpowers, on Survivor, you can do whatever you want. You can take a piece of parchment, tear it up, write down a little scribbly thing. This is my legacy advantage. You can do that.
That's what Jamal did with Dean.
That's what,
right, exactly. So I'm like, to be fair, Savannah comes over. She's already got the immunity necklace, which is imposing. Savannah's very, you know, they're all like, she was the target. She wins immunity, of course she does. Now she's giving them an extra vote to possibly throw off this 3-1-1. And she's voting, and also we don't know for sure what else she has. Like, that's the bigger part of the advantage. The extra vote is honestly like the lamest part of it, because it maybe will have an effect next episode, but whatever. But the biggest part is the unknown, which is what these players are dealing with, and then are also sleep deprived, and they're hungry, and they're stressed, and it just creates this. And they've already been throwing each other the bus for like a few hours prior. It's just what a hot mess. I mean, the producers are. I'm guessing they're loving. Jeff's like, we're doing this every season.
That's the issue now. Is I wonder if this like makes Jeff be like, okay, this is the reason why we do it. I think actually the extra vote is going to be incredibly useful. I think this might be one of the most perfect, because they're theoretically what, like 8-3 right now. If the 3 have or a 4 with the extra vote, let alone maybe bringing in a Sophie, or it's 6-3. Yeah, sorry, it's the final 9. So 6-3. If they have 4 and the other 6 would split, let alone bringing on a Sophie S, bringing on an Alex, like that bears a lot of weight. So I mean, it's interesting because we end up, you bring up David versus Goliath predicament. I think that's a very salient comparison, because we have this underdog alliance, but they are the ones that have, with Christina's idol being the exception, all of the advantages. And not only that, each one of them has an advantage. I imagine that Soph is going to finally tell the other 2 about her knowledge is power.
I think based on the beginning of the episode, I took a note of this on the rewatch. Like, Alex is like, he is 100% going to throw Christina under the bus to Sophie, unknowing that she, or maybe she'll bring it up. But either way, I think he's going to play the middle, and he's going to tell Sophie B, all right, tides are turning. Things are a bit up in the air now. I want you to know Christina did find the idol. and then that's going to lead to Soph taking the idol, and it's going to
Mhm.
be like Alex's demise or something like that. Because she would have, Christina said she would have played it for him, but I think it's going to blow back, which is great. I'm like, Soph is. I love the fact that she's not telling anybody about that. Like, good for her. You go. I love that. You don't need to share. Unfortunately for MC, it's like the opposite. But in this case, it's going to get her an idol, and it's also going to be later in the game. There's less time to have blowback. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to that. I definitely think it's going to happen though.
Well, and I mean, the threat of advantages also just naturally will win people over to your side, right? So it's you, as we've seen with Rizzo, he has been balls of steel sitting through 2 tribal councils, not playing his idol like a crazy man.
Wild man. Just a
Like,
wild man.
What did
which
he
I will
learn
say,
from Survivor 46?
well, but his confessional was like, whether it's 10th or 4th, I don't care. I'm here to win this game. So I think that attitude, he's
Scared
just
money,
like,
money, baby.
yeah, exactly. Like, what's the point of me getting through 1 more week for then me to go home next week, right?
I
So he's
mean,
really,
I'm looking at like Venus and Hunter and all Q, and I'm like, you
I
guys
mean,
didn't play your idols. What is another week? But
yeah,
I
no,
know.
believe me, I'm
I'm
on this.
like this, and to be fair, they were like, we're gonna vote for Rizzo, we're gonna blindside him, and then Rizzo was like, I don't think I'm gonna play it, and I'm like, oh no, this is wild. Okay, all right, you do, and then the fact that he makes it.
Can I also ask, because I've seen this bandied about a little bit. Do you feel like Savannah's giving you Parvati energy?
A little, yes. I don't know. It's tough to say for sure, because like, which version? I guess like we're talking Micronesia, Cook Islands. No, Winners at War. Not really.
I think it's
Maybe
I think
Heroes
it's
Villains.
between
I
the
think
like
Heroes Villains a little bit. Like she's got this reputation about her,
yeah.
and others are talking about her a lot, which is how it was on Heroes Villains. I had a person reach out to me like a year ago, super random, and they're like, I have all the timestamps of Parvati being targeted on all of her seasons. Can you take these out and just edit it together? And I have a video, it's like 2 hours of everyone just talking about Parvati on Survivor. And it's a lot. Like it is wild. So that's what I'm getting when I hear people, when I pay attention, like there are a lot of people on Survivor 49 right now. We got 10, 11 people, but who are they talking about? Nobody's talking much about Steven. Nobody's talking about Christina. They are talking a lot about Savannah in every way. And it's very complimentary, also sometimes not. But that's how it was for Parvati in a way. So when I hear that, I'm like, I can kind of see comparisons in that sense. Like there's a lot of, everyone's got an opinion on her, and they're all sharing it. We're seeing that. But it's funny. I have this montage of Parvati being targeted for 2 hours. And
I'm so intrigued as to what the request was. Like, was this for any sort of presentation? Was it for their own personal
I have
files?
no idea. I did it. I'm like, I love Parvati. She's one of my favorites, so I'll do it. It'll be fun. It got instantly copyrighted because it's not really edited well. But I'm like, here, I sent it on a Google Drive, and the person took it. And this was a year or 2 ago. So,
and that person's name was John Fincher.
Maybe it was Savannah. Maybe she was getting ready to.
Oh, maybe it was Mae Martin. Maybe Mae Martin reached out to you.
Maybe. Oh, maybe. Oh my gosh, maybe. But anyway, yeah, that's when I think of like, I know people have compared her to Parvati a little bit. There is an element of like heroes versus villains where she's sort of got this negative tinge to her, but she's the dominating force. People are kind of afraid of her, and I think it's going to build into that now that she is going to be looking to be back on top soon. And she's obviously got the athletic thing. I don't know, did Parvati win the toe hang? They did this challenge in Heroes Villains.
So people were comparing the Get a Grip, which is the grip the pole challenge.
She did that one really well.
She did do chimney sweep. It was a tribal challenge though, if you remember, sort of like this one actually, where it was like the last one standing. That was when you had Colby and Jerry right
the villains
next to each
won
other.
that.
They did, yeah.
They did win that, and she was in that, and she did. So Savannah's got that going for that parallel.
Yeah,
and she's a woman.
Leopard print bathing
suit.
Good
call.
Leopard print bathing suit. There you go.
I think for me, so I would say overall, I can see the comparison. Where it starts to break down for me is something that we actually saw in this episode, which is when Savannah goes to Steven and is telling him that story about how she was iced out at work, and then she's like crying about it and sharing sort of this traumatic experience that she went through. Could I see Parv doing that?
I agree. I would contest that to say that I think if Parvati was in the new era, knowing what we know of her now, there is a non-zero chance we get some sort of backstory of I was raised in a cult and my family escaped. Like I don't know if she would open up about that, but I feel like if she was placed in this modern day setting and she did, it would absolutely make the episode in the way that Savannah did. Now, I don't know if she would be like, weeping in confessional about it. Because I agree. I think also with the claims that Savannah is this big villain, I think this is sort of contesting that as well, that like she obviously has a lot of unfortunate experiences with feeling socially shunned from things. But I don't know. I think given what the new era likes to do, like there is a non-zero chance we would have seen Parvati's backstory.
It's wild to think. I'm just thinking now, like Cook Islands, they do this, like the emotional backstory montage on Cook Islands with Parvati and everything. She had a story going into that season. Anyway.
But see, okay, but I think that there's a difference between her talking about her story in confessionals and then her using it to try to gain favor within the tribe. Because look, this is me completely making an assumption. But I'm telling you, Savannah told that story to Steven to like gain empathy. Okay.
The timing of it.
The timing of it was suspicious.
It was a little soft.
To say the least.
I mean, she literally sat him down and said, like, did I ever tell you about my work trauma?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, the trauma is trauma. And this is obviously, that's why maybe she's thinking about it, because it's pulling that information back out of her. But I don't know. There was something also about that scene where she, like, kept looking at him almost like to see if he was reacting to the story. I don't know. This is, again, me trying to just, like, read body language. Whatever. Yeah. But it just, like, it didn't. I don't know. That's not a Parv move to me. Like the Parv move is she's still like giggling out there in the jungle, trying to figure out how she's going to like make this work kind of situation. And then she'll go flirt with somebody, right? Like that's maybe like the stereotypical way that I would think she would approach it. So I see subtle differences between the two of them, but I can understand why there are a lot of broad similarities.
I feel like I can't, like it's Parvati 2.0 is like its own video topic in the making, like the whole starting from Heroes versus. I did think about this earlier randomly. I was just like the first hero, because I was thinking of making upcoming video about the first time I ever like crashed out watching Survivor, which would have been probably Nicaragua, watching people quit. And so, but I thought like, but you had Brenda. What's the pitch for Brenda? Because I was rooting for her, and then watching her on the jury, and she was sort of the first, I think, Parvati 2.0 post Heroes villains.
Yeah. The Black Mamba.
And she did a very good job at actually instilling that a little bit, that just like strong, flirty, slightly villainous toned, just manipulating people to get her way and being at the top of the leading.
Boy, did we know it 5 seasons afterwards.
Right. And then, And so I'm like, there aren't a ton of that archetype in the, generally people throw out Parvati 2.0, but it usually doesn't really make sense. And I don't agree with most of them, but in her case with Savannah, I wouldn't say it's like whatever Parvati 2.0 or anything, but it does have tinges of Parvati, and also just, I think that she's going to find success. I don't know if she'll win this season. I thought I was more confident on her winning in the earlier parts of the season. Now I'm like, they might be throwing a lot of doubt her way. And if she does go to the end, does she even have the jury votes at this point? But then again, you could say the same about Parvati on Survivor Heroes versus Villains. She was the tour de force. People were keeping her. They're looking for her left, right, and center, targeting her constantly, and she didn't win the game. She had all this negativity. So I don't know, but
yeah, and that's also new players versus returning players. Not to say that new players can't sort of have baked in resentment, but I do feel like you have someone like Candace being unhappy that Parvati voted against her, given their previous connections. Like given what seems to be a sort of like game respects game mentality of 49 so far, I think there's a reasonable chance that if a Rizzo, if a Savannah makes it to the end, then it's like, oh, okay, well, listen, it sucks that I had to go out this way, but like kudos to you for doing this. I will also say, again, not to make too much light of what was obviously a very traumatic situation for Savannah, I did love Steven's reaction, where not to say he didn't mean well in being a listening ear, but it was giving a little bit like mama kudos for saying that, for spilling, like of him just being like, yep, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Like, oh wow, I'm starting to hear that.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's a tough way to respond to anybody, really. Like that is sort of a blanket response to, I don't know how I'm supposed to help you in this moment, so I'm just gonna say I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah,
that sucks.
but also again, like you have to think about the context in which it's happening, which is like she's just being isolated, and now she's telling you that she felt bad about being isolated from a social situation, and so you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, so I just redid the trauma to you that you felt previously, and now, like, do I apologize? Like,
Yeah.
I'm also sorry. Like, if I did that, I don't know. I just can't imagine poor Steven being in his shoes and being like, I have no idea how
He's
to
like, I
respond.
wish I was up in space right now. God, put me in a rocket.
Launch me. I want out of here.
How do we feel about Savannah also tried to pass the buck a bit to Sage? Could you just sort of showed up very quickly in the episode prior to everything, prior to the
Yeah.
immunity challenge? She started throwing Sage under the bus. I thought, interesting. She's trying to sort of, at least to us, turn the tables and villainize Sage a little bit. And we haven't really seen that much, but I thought that was a very curious reaction where she's like, Sage is trying to make me the bad guy, but you can't have it both. You can't be at the top and stabbing everyone with daggers and then also being like, woe is me, you know, I'm you know.
And we'll remember that there was a little bit of beef going on, albeit one-sided, where Sage was targeting Savannah, and Shannon did tell Savannah that. So I have a feeling that that might have been, talk about a knife, an axe to grind against her for a while. And so when she finds out some accusations levied against her of like, oh, she thinks you're a mean girl, that you're making these sort of like low-key shady comments, then she's basically saying like, I also was listening on the confessional, Sage, where you said I can also be a mean girl, so two can play at that game.
I think there's a Traitors season coming up with both their names on the round table.
Oh, 100%.
I would love to see it.
Well, but the thing is yeah, because we see it both ways, right? Because also Sage goes to Sophie B and is like, she made me feel like she is making digs at me, that kind of thing. Then we have
Savannah, who would have thought the chicken naming scene was gonna create, ironically enough, so much beef.
I've never heard General Sal's mentioned so many times on Survivor. Yeah, it was interesting. I also, the one other moment I really, really liked from this episode was it was when Sage tells Sophie that MC told Jawan, right? That whole situation. And Sophie, they just blur her mouth. She's just like, F word. I don't know why, but it was like, that just felt such a human reaction to that moment of like, I'm so screwed. Like, just single expletive. It was beautiful.
We're Steven's rocket. Launch me out of here.
Exactly. Sophie asked once along on the ride.
All right.
It kind of reminded me, I was going to say, of that quote where it's like everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And like Sophie had a plan until she got punched in the face. And then she had this like total breakdown and ends up voting out her like closest ally by the end of the episode.
I gotta say, I really like what we've seen of Sophie so far. I really liked the timing of the analogy at Tribal Council when she's sitting by herself and she's like, Jeff, it's like I'm the last one picked up at school and my mom's here. Like she's really good. She's very fun. When you give her sound bites, like she will gobble them down. She'll turn away the fruit platter, but she will devour any screen time that you give her.
I've enjoyed her on the season, even though she wasn't really around for the first like 4 episodes. But you know what? Maybe there's a causation there with Sophie's not around much at the beginning of the season. Season's kind of whatever. Then Sophie shows up. This season's pretty good. She's changing people's names. You know?
Yeah,
she's a name changer.
Typify the 2 eras of the season, BSS and ASS, before Sophie S and after Sophie S.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you know, I was talking in previous episodes about how much I really enjoyed Nate, which by the way, Nate on the jury, who was that man? I've never seen that man in my life. Like doing the hat, really, shaving the beard.
Yeah, you forget sometimes because we don't usually see it because we don't have reunion shows anymore. But like when these guys shave their beards, they can look like completely different people. They can re-enter the game and nobody would know that they had played previously.
Yeah, no. That was a crew member, a dream teamer just standing in for Nate while they filmed it.
But we did see, Liana, remember I talked last week about the fedora that was mentioned so much at Ponderosa. That was the fedora.
Yes.
There's a fedora at Ponderosa?
Finally.
Yeah, so he had you know, when I talk to people about like who you're getting good vibes with, there's a lot of talk about like this guy with the fedora. And he was just giving out some bad vibes.
Fedora's coming back. 15 years ago, they would have been like everybody would have been like, target the guy wearing the fedora.
I mean, they were sort of saying the same thing in that case.
Were they? Oh, okay, never mind.
You know, exactly. Time in memoriam. Never wear a fedora when you're out there, folks, okay? That's wear literally any other hat.
Did he have the fedora? I'm now forgetting. Did he wear the fedora into the game?
No.
So he had the fedora on the preseason, and he wore the fedora the moment he got voted out.
Yes.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
I wonder if
There's a
that's just
trend.
like Ponderosa Nate. You know, like there's a difference between sort of like Vacation Stanley on The Office of like there's On Island Nate and then there's Ponderosa Nate. That guy puts the fedora on and he lights up the town.
All right.
He's going dancing.
Well, not to put a hat on a hat, but it's time that we get into one of our segments here on the B&B, which is getting into our preseason predictions on MC. Liana, I'm really interested to hear your perspective on MC because, of course, you have this unorthodox situation with the alternates. The fact that when I talked with MC, she did not know that she was going to be part of the cast. I would also say that, you know, in a series of interviews that I did, that some of them on the longer side, you know, went for nearly 40 minutes. MCs, I only did like 15, 16 minutes with. So for some of them, it was maybe, I wouldn't say tough to pull things out of, but I think MC was very succinct and to the point with why she was there and what she was planning to do. So what were you able to glean from that? And how did that inform how you thought she was going to do in this game?
I just felt good vibes, not to get on Nate's bad side, but I just felt good vibes with MC, and I did have MC making the finale. So this one hurts a little bit. I said that MC was brought into the Strategy Sharks Alliance with Jason, Steven, and Sophie on Hina. This group is shockingly able to retain power post-merge, getting out Alex and Nate before the tides start to turn.
Got out Nate.
I know. Well, yeah. Stupid Alex. MC, sensing the shift in power, runs like a D1 athlete as she throws her own alliance members under the bus out of self-preservation to regroup with the remaining members of Uli. This proves a strong strategic move, taking MC all the way to the finale. As we reach the final 5, Sophie casts the deciding vote, sending MC to the jury, deeming her a strong social threat and a lock to win. MC wins 2 individual immunity challenges and finds 1 idol, which she plays unnecessarily. Yeah, I was happy about that one. Her enemy is Sophie, and her ally was Sophie.
Not confusing at all.
Wait, Sophie B and Sophie S?
Yes, well, because in our original podcast that we did, we had decided on Sophie as Sophie B and then Sophie as Sophie S. So I kept that throughout all my predictions. So I'm trying to be as time capsule-y accurate as possible.
Okay. I will also say mixed messaging at its finest, CBS. If you've been seeing some social media posts or like the email newsletter that they send out to people, they use Blue Sophie instead of Soph.
Yes.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
But they put Soph in the title sequence, didn't they? Like just
they did.
So again, mixed signals. What's going on here?
Wow.
I mean, I just liked it retroactively because it's not even like the internet has termed them Blue Sophie and Yellow Sophie. Like, oh, that's a great idea. This was one of the options presented last episode. They said, oh, we've been floating around a couple ideas. We've got Soph and Sophie. We've got Blue Sophie and Yellow Sophie. Like, this was something they could have gone with.
Because didn't they call her? They did call her Purple Kelly, didn't they? Like, didn't Jeff say that? Because it was Kelly and Purple Kelly.
Yeah. So I believe, if I remember correctly, not to bring up a season that made you crash out, Peridiam, but I believe like Purple Kelly did say like, oh yeah, I'm Purple Kelly. Much like I remember the first
she introduced herself, right.
The first Tribal Council of South Pacific, Mark Anthony Caruso goes, Jeff called me Papa Bear.
So is it because like Sophie B didn't slay? She didn't put herself out there saying I want to be Blue Sophie and Yellow Sophie and all that. So we're just colors of the rainbow. Okay.
Yeah.
Blue Sophie, Sophie.
Well, I was seeing whether blue or yellow Sophie. I was seeing green flags with MC as well. I also had her making the finale.
Oh, there you go.
And also finishing in 5th place. So due to both her unconventional start as an alternate as well as her quieter personality compared to her Hina Tri members, MC is one of the most underrated people in the pre-merge. However, that doesn't reflect how well positioned MC actually is in the game. As the biggest physical asset to the tribe, she's able to get in good with Jason and Sophie S as part of the Control-Alt-Delete alliance. And she also nurses a side deal with Christina. MC's height and challenge prowess will literally stand tall in the pre-merge, including at least a couple of Hina hero moments that net them clutch victories. MC lies in a comfortable spot for the first half of the post-merge, but after spending the entire game being the brawn to Jason's brain, she decides the Hina body must rebel. she and Sophie take an alternate route to turn on their fellow alternate. With her game unintentionally exposed, all eyes are on MC. Luckily, she kicks into beast mode just at the right time, kicking off a challenge win streak. Unfortunately, the personal trainer's Survivor set ends prematurely in the finale. While MC and Steven were forced into a marriage of convenience, he ultimately gets the last laugh for sabotaging the Hina majority when he beats her in one of her many must-win challenges. And so she goes out, filling the requisite role of 5th place biggest threat, which I've decided to coin with the shorthand FPBT. I don't think that's going to catch on, Mike. I'm so sorry.
Wait, FP?
5th place.
5th place biggest threat.
Yes.
BT. FPBT.
FPBT, baby. That's great.
Oh, man.
So I think I know where this is going. This is less of a surprise than MC's boot. Peridiam, make it official.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to Liana. With
Thank you.
her picks. I love that you said like Sophie S would be her enemy or something like that, because it turned out that was kind of the roundabout way it ended up happening, especially with the idol, unnecessarily using the idol, and the fact that Mike just decided to tie you with the whole she went the distance, didn't end up panning out. I was like, oh, if Mike had said she went out a little earlier in the merge, I would have been like, that's like pretty good.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you guys both mostly hit the nail on the head for the most part, other than the fact that she went further. If she had survived this round, and I think the Hina majority somehow either got Rizzo out, or it wasn't just such a unraveling of this majority alliance, or at least half of the majority alliance, I could see her going far still. I could see her still going to that final 5 possibly. But she, didn't end up panning out that way. It's funny because they showed in the preview of the episode, the first like recap of the episode, she says when she plays her idol, probably don't need to play this, but I'm gonna do it anyway or something like that. I'm like, it's just like a lot of self-fulfilling prophecy with MC's story in the post-merge here. There's this 1-2 idol and then vote out. It was just very unfortunately serendipitous with how it's like the opposite of what you would hope for.
Yeah, it is interesting because I feel like maybe one of the reasons why I thought MC would be longer for this game is I feel like out of the Hinas, we know the most about her and Steven. And so I thought it was only logical of like, oh yeah, they're probably going to be loud. Now I think that Steven is still like, I don't know, Steven might go out next week for all we know, considering how much of a surprise this was. But that's one reason why especially when also the previously on, this was really odd to me, had Sophie winning immunity. That was so strange when it was like previously on Survivor, Sophie wins immunity. It's like, why are we emphasizing this?
Yeah.
She's the main character.
Yeah. I mean, it was obviously because of the showdown, right? Between Sophie and Savannah, which is why they showed it. That was like, but I guess also part of the logic was like, and she's a challenge beast. Hey, did you guys remember she's a challenge beast because she won that one challenge one time?
To be fair, it did play into the narrative for like why they didn't vote her out. But she even used that like, hey, call me a challenge beast. Let's just try to pretend to vote me out. So they were referencing that because that was a big part
again, I feel like it's an argument that people use so many times that 90% of the time doesn't work. It's not worth it. But again, Rizzo and company are thinking a little differently and decide like, you know what, actually maybe she is such a big target that it's worth keeping her around.
And then apparently like MC just had a better social game. She had a bigger web of social connections with the other players that Savannah was feasting with. So they're like, how much is winning immunity challenges that big of a deal? Is it really that big? And you're at the final 10,
Yeah. Well, and that was Rizzo's argument. It was what he said. She's not the Terminator or something.
Right.
I mean, he also followed up by saying like Sophie came with everything. Savannah won one, and it's like it's kind of a little disparaging for one of your closest allies.
Okay, rude. Even Savannah won.
How many has he won?
Yeah. How many did you win, John Robert?
John
Risbear.
That's so funny. Okay, well, for today's game, we are going to tap into Casual's Corner, which we have not looked at here on the B&B since the very preseason content. So I think that this is going to be pretty interesting. There were two key things actually I wanted to point out before we get into the game proper. The first is one of the absolute top comments with 324 likes on the Survivor Facebook page is, to the people calling Jeff Uncle Jeff, please stop. It's so creepy. It's giving creepy uncle vibes. The casuals hate Uncle Jeff as a thing.
Really?
That was only one of multiple comments of people being like, please stop calling him Uncle Jeff. We do not like this. So just
Okay.
wanted to put that out there that that's what the casual stamp on this.
I wonder if this is like the 49 version of fried chicken and waffles, where like on the island they're like, this is so much fun, this is
Fried
great,
chicken and waffles.
this is our several, this is one of our running bits, and then like how many people will speak out after the fact being like, I hated that Uncle Jeff nickname, it was so cringe, versus how many of them are like, no, we were all doing it together, it was a fun thing that we did as 49ers.
I don't
Well,
care.
yeah,
I personally, I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I don't even think about it. I don't even notice it. It's so fascinating to see what other people care about and get some all like their feathers ruffled. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know they were doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did
Uncle
notice
Jeff.
Juwan had an
Don't like
interesting use
it.
of it. He said, do you like me, Uncle Jeff? And it's like, what?
Wait, when did
Oh, he
that
did
happen?
do that.
When they were
yeah.
drawing groups, he
the
said, do
rocks.
you like me,
Oh.
Uncle Jeff?
Yes.
you like me?
Oh, yeah. Juwan's interesting. I'm fascinated by him.
Yeah.
Well,
It
actually,
seems like he's in a very vulnerable place, considering he's like, I'm hurt that MC
do you like
played her idol. Uncle Jay, do you like me at all?
Jay?
Like,
These
is he in a worse place than we thought he would be just from a mental perspective?
Oh,
Uli just needs a group family therapy session. Savannah,
Mhm.
Jawan, they all just need to
Yep.
sit down and go through this. You know, it's
Yep.
rough. It's rough out there.
Yeah, especially after all this whiplash, just make up for it.
Mhm.
Well, so the other thing that I wanted to point out is that specifically in this immunity challenge, the casuals latched on to the fact that Jeff said, "Who will come on top?" instead of "Who will come out on top."
Okay.
And they referenced that several times. And then, what kind of show is this? And then a lot of like, kind of emoji like things. Is like,
See, this shows real ones remember when Jeff
What
Probst's
is
challenge
happening?
commentary was filled with euphemisms. That's what got us through the dark ages of Survivor. And so now we got a little bit of a
More
peek behind the
balls.
curtain here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So let's get into the Casuals Corner game proper. So the way that I have structured this game is I've pulled comments from the Facebook page, the Survivor Facebook page, all talking about one particular player, but I have blanked out that player's name. I've also changed the pronouns to be gender neutral because we're actually only pulling from the last 10 players of the game. So these are only players who are currently active, MC included. So I'm going to read the comment and then it's up to you to fill in the blank. So Mike, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Okay.
Your first comment is, that was a sad moment for me. Really was rooting for blank.
Okay, so talking through my logic here, I mean, Occam's razor would determine it's MC. Because it's like, oh, was really rooting for her. She went home. But I'm trying to think, like, did somebody else do something that really turned off this one particular person? I'm trying to think about, like, did someone do something, like, maybe was it Savannah with the keys? But again, she had this moment this episode where it made her maybe a little bit more sympathetic.
Are these comments all in relation to the last episode?
They're all about this. Yeah, exactly. They're
okay, then I'm just gonna go with sad for MC.
Okay. Yes, that is correct. The casuals overall loved MC. I saw very few, if any, negative comments about MC. They loved her.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, very well seeming, very good in the challenges, especially in the pre-merge. You know, team player in that speaking.
Yeah, strong, like athletic.
I also felt like the way she went out it seemed a little random, and I don't feel like the show justified it very well, like the explanation. So I could see like when she got voted out, like, how did what? That's weird. It should have been Rizzo or Sophie. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, number 2, Peridiam. This one's for you. I mean, ... blank is a child-sized 5T and wears a youth 4 in shoes.
Oh.
So it's not like the challenge was hard for them as it was for all the adult-sized contestants.
Oof.
I'm going to have to guess this is Savannah.
Considering a 5T.
That was a skate. That's a wow. They really went in on her.
not the adult size contestants.
Wow.
I
Like,
did
I
point
can't
out-
believe they had the audacity to have a child compete with these fully grown adults.
There was a moment when they were walking to tribal, and I was like, I said to Carol, and I was like, Savannah's really small.
She's so
Like,
tiny.
She
She's
is.
really
small,
tiny.
small, yeah.
Are there comments of like, I can't believe Jeff Probst got his 15-year-old niece on the show, and now he's giving her advantages left and right.
No, but they did very much, and you know, I mean, obviously we know that different challenges favor different body shapes and sizes and different skill sets, but for some reason this particular challenge they were like that was rigged because it only favors tiny people.
You know what?
So
Brendan Vegas would hate that challenge. That's a Big Brother deep cut.
yeah.
He's got that Neanderthal feet.
Yeah. They've done this challenge going way back
Yeah.
in Survivor history. Not every challenge is going to work out for literally every person.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
How do you make it even between every single type of like you
I mean,
you
I
just
guess you could size the pegs to like a certain proportion of your foot size.
I see. Like this is now,
My
you
foot's
know,
wider. by half an inch.
5% of your
Foot.
of your foot width. I guess they do that with a height, maybe.
Maybe they should just go extra. Just measure every toe, the heel.
I was going to say, I know that they go rather intensive with these measurements.
Do
for
toe
Survivor, but I don't
rings
know if
make a
they-
difference? You
That's
know,
true.
Yeah.
does that help hurt you?
Yeah. Oh my God. Then like if because you know how most people like their big toe is like longer, but like if your other toes are longer, do you get certain advantages in like certain
Aerodynamic.
challenges?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
In the water.
It doesn't make any sense. If you're more webbed, do you have to swim further?
Oh,
Okay.
maybe that's what they meant by voting MC out. Maybe she has webbed toes.
Oh, goes Madam Web of it all.
Yeah.
Web toes, Madam Web, web of social relationships. Okay.
Oh my God.
All right, Mike, we're going back to you. Blank is a beast and one to watch.
Blank is beast.
A little bit harder than
the less
first one.
descriptive than the
Yeah,
last
this is
one.
incredibly descriptive. Thank
A
you
little
so much.
less.
I know
You're
exactly
welcome.
who this is. Blank
Obviously.
is a beast. Okay.
Yes, and one to watch.
I mean, my best guess would be so. Beast is an umbrella term that can encapsulate so many qualities. Of course, a beast also from an animalistic perspective could represent a wide variety of animalia. I would say that you could go with Sophie S. That like she is a beast. Yeah, hopefully not Mr. Beast. I would say actually maybe Rizzo's giving the most Mr. Beast vibes, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Sophie S because she is good in the challenges. She did, tough it out with Savannah for quite some time. It could be like Sage of like, oh, she's a beast. Like she's ferocious. I think I'm gonna go with Sophie S here because that whenever I think beast, I more think about the physical variation of the term.
Yeah.
That
would have been my first guess as well.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
There you
Yeah, it's Sophie, not Soph. So I am, and from context clues, maybe also assuming. So I'm going to go ahead and give that to you. But yes, it was Sophie. One of them. All right. Peridiam, here is your next comment. Blank thinking they made the greatest move ever, voting Nate off was laughable. ...
Ooh.
Oh,
Sage would call these people mean girls, considering how shady they've been to this cast.
I do recall at the top of the episode, there was one player in particular who was a little bit in the limelight for that move. I'm going to say it might have been Jawan. Is that Jawan?
That is correct.
Wow.
Yes, it was.
He showed up in the night. I remember his night confessional, and he was all giddy and excited about.
Did he say it was like the biggest move of Survivor 49 so far?
Which I don't think is wrong. To be fair, that was a big move.
The Secret would say differently.
Was the biggest bite or the biggest move? I guess technically moves also. Okay.
Yeah.
The snake moved through the water.
Snake? We give Snake credit for that. Although I do think you can make an argument for Shannon maybe as being like the biggest boot of the season.
That was a big move too. Yeah.
I think it's set up so much, right? Because like that was the first thing to really flag to Sage and Jawan. Like, all right, go against Uli. Though they flip back to Uli in this vote.
Yeah.
Big moves. That's what we're all about in Survivor. We've come full circle.
We're back to the big moves.
Yep.
All right, Mike, we're going to you. Blank is so adorable. They looks at her. Heart eye emoji, heart eye emoji, heart eyes emoji.
The way they look at her.
Looks at her. I'm reading verbatim.
Okay, I'm thinking. Okay, so who's given goo goo eyes to a female cast member here? Okay, so they're adorable. The way
Blank.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Blank is so adorable. They looks at her. Heart eyes emoji ×3.
Okay, so my
weigh?
best guess might be the way Rizzo looked at Savannah when she revealed that she had the advantage. Like, he was so ecstatic about it, and I think even further cemented his move to not play his idol. So I'm gonna say Rizzo here.
Okay. Unfortunately, that is incorrect. It
Oh,
was
wow.
actually Steven, with the way that Steven was looking at Savannah.
Wow, we have the opposite read on that, don't we?
Whoops. Nope.
Yeah.
They shouted out Brandon a few hours later. I do not think Steven was doing that.
The way Steven matched her energy was just not Meg. I was like, he's giving her like, okay, all right, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just think Steven's cute, and it was just like, oh, it's so adorable how he pretends to listen. Okay.
Adorable.
It's so adorable. Heart eyes emoji. Peridiam, we're going back to you.
Yeah.
Blank got that dog in him. And I will spell dog as how it is written, which is DAWG.
Blank that got that dog in him.
Got that dog. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the thing.
Yep.
Blank
right. Got that dog in him.
So who's most likely to contain dog?
You know,
DAWG.
Well, it's a guy we're looking at. I'm thinking my first thought is Rizzo with the Riz. He's over there commanding the scene by the end of the episode. I could see somebody saying that. I see people online are stumping for Rizzo this episode a good amount. So I could see somebody giving him credit here, especially the fact that he didn't play his idol when he had a firing squad in front of him. Or maybe not. Maybe they were holding like wet pool noodles. I don't know. Instead of anything.
Oh, talk about capital punishment.
You know,
you ever been hit by one of those things? Ouch.
You know, hey, I'd rather take that, but I'm gonna say Rizzo just based on the fact that he didn't play his idol, and that's maybe he's got the dog on him from there.
The dog in him. You were so close. It's actually Riz God.
Is it Riz God?
So it is his alternate
proper
persona.
title.
Dang
Right.
It was. Yep. You gotta specify.
RIZGOD Riz God, baby.
The man, the myth, the legend. No, I will give that to you. Yes, it was.
I was trying to remember. Does anyone say? Has anyone said in Survivor you've got that dog in you? Because I feel like I've heard the phrase a lot on like Big Brother recently. Is it a relatively new phrase?
I've never had somebody reach out to me asking to put a compilation. So I don't know.
Please cut the number of times someone said Blank had that dog in them.
That dog in him.
Yeah,
I feel like it had to have been said.
I feel like I've heard that maybe. But maybe not. I mean, it's just a phrase I've heard a bunch, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Mike, when you're out there next time doing interviews, like preseason interviews, can you like subconsciously get them to start like thinking of that phrase? So then that way we see a whole season where people.
I'm actually going to modify it. I'm just going to say instead of get the dog in you, I'm going to say get war dog in you. Who's got that war dog in you? And then we can really see who's set up for failure.
Oh no. Now you're talking about Rick Devens here? Oh, the actual war dog. Anyway. That was the joke because he said that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but I'm also called the war dog.
Yeah, that's my also. I wish they showed that. Anyway.
All right. Mike, we're going back to you here. Kind of hoping Silence of the Lambs blank wins. So who's giving Silence of the Lambs energy?
Okay, so it's like, you know, I feel like people might feel, and I don't feel this way. Let me just provide that disclaimer. People might feel like Sage's energy is a lot and a little strange, and not to completely compare to like Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter, but I'm trying to think of like who else has that energy, and I don't think anyone really does. I mean, maybe Jawan the Cinephile might, but again, he doesn't really have that Silence of the Lambs type of vibe to him. He doesn't. He's hasn't got that moth in him. So I guess I'll go with Sage.
She's got that Hannibal Lecter in her. Yeah, that is correct.
Oh wow.
Kind of hoping Silence of the Lambs Sage wins. It's
What?
just like one of the first comments I read too, by the way, was she's like, whoa, what are we getting ourselves into here?
Yeah, I would not make that connection personally, but
all right, Mike, you've tied it up. We're 3-3 going into Peridiam's final question. If you get this wrong, we do go to a tiebreaker.
Oh,
Here is your comment, Peridiam. I call blank Jabberjaws because they never shuts up. There's really not any players this season I can honestly say I like.
wow. Don't love it.
Yeah.
Don't like anybody.
I wonder what other nicknames they had for the rest of the cast, and they're so
I know,
disparaging.
same. Drop the rest of the nicknames because Jabberjaws is hilarious. And by the way, it's Jabberjaw, Jabberjaws, Jabberjaws.
Jabberjaws. Okay.
Jabberjaws.
This is a player that never shuts up.
Mm.
Jabberjaws. Fascinating. It's tough to say, like, it's easy. I feel like I can rule out a few people by virtue of them just not talking a lot, like Christina. Don't have to worry about her. I highly doubt that's her. If it is, then, I don't think that I'm going to win this point anyway. I doubt it's Steven. I doubt it is. I don't know. Like, I feel like this could fit for a couple of people. Like, I could see it going to Savannah because she talked a bunch this episode. I could see it going to maybe even Rizzo because he talked a big game, but I don't think it's Rizzo. Plus, he already used Rizzo. A part of me wants to say it's like Alex just because he's talking a lot for some reason, but then he also wasn't in the second half of the episode.
Yeah.
So,
which was also, I'd say, a mark against the episode too. When, like, on paper you are missing half your cast for the second half of the episode.
Yeah,
it's not great.
I agree. I also was like, oh, we missed all of Alex and Soph, which would have been fun to watch. Christina's over there with an idol, not involved. What's that about? That would have been
not
really
even playing,
not even doing anything, just sitting there. Like, they're just sitting there for like 12 hours. Like, where did Savannah go?
Where did Savannah go?
You think they were just sitting there waiting, being like, well, when somebody gets lost, you have to stay put because they'll come back and look for where we were, right where they left us.
They can't go back to camp. They have to stay there at the feast. Or sorry, the do-it-yourself sandwich bar.
Yeah, they can feast on all the sandwiches and chocolate chip cookies they want.
Can you read the comment one more time?
Yes, I call blank Jabberjaws because they never shuts up. There's not really any players this season I can honestly say I like.
They never shut up.
Shuts up.
Never shuts up. They never shuts up.
They never shuts up.
I'm really stumped. I feel like I could pull from 3 or 4 different people. I think I'm gonna get it wrong. So I'm just gonna go and say, I'm gonna say Savannah.
That's was correct.
Sophie, it was Sophie.
No, it was it was Sophie.
It was Sophie. I thought it could be Sophie.
So
she was my top 3.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, now you're cutting it literally in half, Peridiam. They should have actually done a split trouble twist where it's okay. Everyone whose name begins with S, you're on one side, and everyone else.
We
is on the other
gotta
side.
rid of one of them. There's like you guys now are making up a higher percentage.
They
only have one gone so far.
Are they?
We need to like
there's
5
of them left, right?
Sage, Sophie, Savannah,
Sage, Savannah, and Steven.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and Steven. Yeah, okay.
What if they all bonded over that and like the alphabet strategy comes back 49 seasons later?
Yeah.
They're like, in honor of Sean from season 1, we're going to band together as the S's and vote out Alex first.
Oh,
and then Christina.
I mean, I believe.
Who are the other 2?
I was just saying, Joanne was the first
Rizzo.
alphabet. I was going to say M,
J, and R.
They're all the first
S's
alphabetically.
Are at the bottom of the alphabet.
Yeah.
So the other 4 are above them in the pecking order. So
to be fair, it's a very bottom-heavy, alphabetically speaking, cast. Like, there's a lot of R's, a lot of S's, a lot of N's with Nate, MC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love.
Okay,
to see
well, we are tied after going through our main level of questions. So we are going to go to our tiebreaker. This will be a buzz in. So just shout out the answer.
Now, Hail Mary here. Here's a Hail Mary.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say, though, okay, is that this is not a current member of the cast. This is a former Survivor player pull what you know about who the casuals talk about all the time as maybe
Okay.
a good starting place for your guesses.
Okay.
So if, like, let's say Mike guesses first, gets it wrong, Peridiam will have a chance, but then
Yeah,
it
I
will
get the
go
chance.
back to Mike. Okay. And then it's going to be the first
So
person who
basically,
gets
we go
it. Okay.
back and forth until
What
somebody
if we
gets it.
never
Correct.
get it?
Yep.
There's,
What if
you know,
we're-
we all got all the time in the
You'll get-
world.
Yeah,
You'll get it. We'll get it.
I mean, if you guys don't, I would be embarrassed, honestly, to be with you. So
Okay.
okay. Here
Well,
is
now I'm
your
gonna throw. No.
yeah. It's like I never want to talk to her again. Great. Okay, so here is your comment. Unremarkable cast. I bet blank is laughing their ass off.
Unremarkable cast. I bet blank is laughing their ass off.
Yes.
Mike,
Okay,
you got
I'll buzz
names?
in. I'll buzz in first. Let's just go with the
Yes.
chalk pick, Boston Rob.
That is correct.
Go for it. I wouldn't have said him anyway. Boston Rob, what the heck does he have to do with anything?
As we know, Boston Rob watches every season. They think he's still in that booth from Island of the Idols, just
That's
watching every
wild.
tribal council.
These people
Yeah.
live rent free in these people's heads. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, Boston. There's always a Boston Rob comment. Every single one, always a Boston Rob comment. And this season is absolutely no different. And I would say overall, they don't really like this cast very much. So, so I would say that's.
I do think
that's
this
pretty
cast is a little
representative.
bit more like negatively tinged almost. Like there's a lot more like
Yeah.
mean commentary, but I don't mind it at all. I'm like, it's fine by me. But I do feel like
Yeah.
I can see where they're coming from with their like the beef has been leading to these vote outs, and also the people at the bottom are being painted negatively to an extent, but they're also like the main characters. I guess Rizzo's fine. I think he's all right. But like Savannah and you got the stage feud, and then Sophie and I don't know. It's just it's an interesting dynamic compared to like last season, which was a lot more like the Joe and Eva of it all. And then you know, Kyle was there, and everyone was a little, and Shaheen was chicken and waffles, and everybody was sort of like, and Mitch with this uplifting story, and it's just like this very positively tinged. And Jeff's like, I love this season, and then 49's coming, guys. Like, hold on tight. Oh, and 50's coming, guys. You know?
Yeah,
Remember,
and you can get a spot on it.
Maybe that's where they thought
Uncle Jeff likes you.
Uncle
Jeff likes you.
Is that why they keep calling him Uncle Jeff? Maybe they're like, aha, I'm gonna get in his good graces, so he brings me back for 50. Uncle Jay, you're a part of my family.
Oh my God, I invite you for Thanksgiving.
Family help each other, right?
What if Jeff was like, no? What if he's like, do you like me? He's like, no. He probably wouldn't.
Gotta be Frank Juwan. Teetering on no right now.
He's like, you know, we're working on it. We're one vote at a time.
Yeah, we've already eliminated you for 50.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it's like. Like,
Sorry
can I go on 50?
Maybe they should do like the chocolate bar twist on Drag Race, where after voted out, they sit down in their final words, and then Jeff comes up to them with an envelope, and it says whether or not they've been picked for Survivor 50.
Yes, exactly. Oh man. Well, congratulations, Mike. You did through tiebreaker win, but Peridiam, there's a very valiant effort.
It's all good. You know, I was this close, just hanging on.
I'm very curious if these Survivor casuals watch Traitors, you know, because I think one of the appeals of bringing on a lot of these classic Survivor characters was to be like, hey, remember Boston Rob? Now he's on another show. Do you think they followed him over to Peacock?
Feel just by virtue of it being on a different network, no, like that's a lot. You know, like it's
maybe if it was on NBC, they would have. Like if it requires them having to get a subscription, that might not be.
If it was on CBS, maybe they would or something. I don't know.
Just again, based on the chitter chatter on the Facebook page, they talk about Australian Survivor significantly more than they talk about any other reality TV show. I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple Dancing with the Stars mentions, but other than that, nothing. And you would think, for being the Boston Rob fans that they are, that they would, but I think maybe they just don't know it.
Do they? How do they feel about Jeremy Collins' controversial comment from a few weeks back? Do they talk about that at all?
No, they don't. I don't think they have any idea. They did find out that Jeff's book is coming out. So they know about that now. And they were like, okay, there was like a very tepid response. So
cool.
We'll see.
Yeah, I didn't order it. I haven't ordered it, but
okay.
You know,
never behind scene pictures though.
Well, listen, if people are not going to put their money towards Jeff's book, they can put their money towards another noble cause. And that, of course, is whatever Peridiam will highlight for us, as our guest is wont to do here on the B&B. Now, you told us beforehand, Peridiam, you've been on here a number of times, and you like to talk about the same charity each and every time, which is a very good one. So please, the floor is yours.
I mean, I've brought it up a bunch since we've been on, and I don't have any plans on changing. It's the charity I've actually volunteered for many times over since I moved to where I currently live in 2017. It's also where I got my adorable, lovely third member of my family, which is my cat. And it's the SPCA. I always am like adopt, don't shop, which nobody in my family took and did. They all like bought their pets, which is awful. It's terrible. And I'm like, guys, my brother like got a cat from like Russia or something. It's ridiculous. I know. He wanted a very specific breed.
Oh
yeah,
like, I can see your brother.
And to be fair, it's adorable, and I don't hold it against the cat. But you know, what are you gonna do? It's like, I don't know. They got their SPCAs in Russia. They can deal with it there. But I'm always like, hey, look, they are doing their best. When I got my cat, I still have pictures of her in her little tiny crate. He feels so sad. And volunteering there, it's like getting a pet adopted is one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt. And I'm like, if I can just advocate for anything, there's lots of stuff out there, but animals do tend to get a little bit left to the wayside and thought of as more of an afterthought. And for me, I've always loved animals. I can't even kill bugs. Like I can't even do that. So I've just had this soft spot for them. So for me, I'm always like, if you can adopt and go out there in any way, shape, or form to help, they will always appreciate it. And that's what I recommend doing. There's usually one wherever you are. It's, you know, any shelter in the area of any city. So SPCA.
All right. Well, if you've got that dog or cat in you, be sure to donate to the ASPCA.
Yeah, right. If you got the dog in you.
Peridiam, fantastic time as always. Thank you so much for coming on, you know, offering your perspectives too. I agree. It was a very interesting episode to talk about, both from the player perspective, from production perspective, and what this might mean moving forward. Of course, you are doing plenty of content on YouTube and even on RHAP a little bit as well. What would you like to plug for the listeners out there?
Just that I am always around making YouTube videos. I talked to Mike yesterday actually about this, where we talked about The Amazing Race and Big Brother, and now we're talking about Survivor. So I've really hitting all the bases here in the last 24 hours. But just that I make YouTube videos every single week. You're going to get a Survivor video when Survivor's on, Big Brother video when Big Brother's on. If you're a fan of either, I advocate for both of them. They're really fun. And I like to sort of create like a little bit of an appetizer, 15-minute video every single week before an episode, talking about whatever. Could be something relevant to the season or something just abstract and random, like me crashing out about my time watching Survivor 15 years ago. You know, whatever's tips, you know, it makes me want to talk about the show for a bit. And hopefully you guys are interested. I've been doing it for 8 years. I'm actually almost at, I think, 500 videos, which is wild. And I've never missed a week, and I don't know when I will. At this point, I'm just doing it for that simple fact alone. So, but yeah, that's what I'm up to. So really just go to YouTube, look for my name at the bottom, and you'll be able to start watching.
All right. Liana, how's the pal going this week?
Pal's going well. We had a little bit of an earlier record. I had to do an impromptu work trip this past week, so things were a little bit crazy. We had a very in-depth discussion about drying your hands. So, you know, we're really covering some tip-top.
Liana, I love you. That is the worst promotion for a podcast I've ever heard in my life.
If anything, it made me more interested because I'm like, what did you talk about? I want to know what that turned into, because I've heard Puya talk about things and stuff, and it's an interesting conversation. It's very Seinfeld.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it really is the podcast about nothing. So yeah, go on, check that out. And then that's it. All
right. Well, you can check out my interview with MC. I mentioned it a couple times, and lots of tidbits shared by MC, specifically towards what we did not see during her couple of weeks on the island. Really great conversation with her. Certainly has sparked a bit of conversation, especially around the concept of race possibly being involved, and again, the worrying yet like inexplicable trend of Black people going home at the split tribal, which is just a wild thing that continues to happen. Amazing Race still happening. I mean, yeah, Peridiam got the chance to talk with me this week about the Amazing Race. For those that don't know, Peridiam is like an OG Amazing Race fanboy, and so we got the chance to talk about his thoughts on the race, his thoughts on this Big Brother filled season of the Amazing Race, considering how much you work in the Big Brother space as well. Do you want to give a brief tease about that? Have you been liking the season so far?
Yeah, I saw the podcast went up. I've liked the season. It's been fun. I mean, if you're a fan of Big Brother, I would totally it's you know, if you're watching this at this point, you're a fan of Survivor, I have to imagine. And if you like Big Brother, this is a very good, I think it's a pretty good season to watch Big Brother players race around the world, and especially for the last like 5 years of Big Brother or so. It's pretty good. And I was like, we should get a Survivor version of this. I would love, why, if Big Brother's going to get a season of The Amazing Race, Survivor should totally get a season of The Amazing Race. Why? Like, if anything, I think there's a deeper well to pull from there. So
should they do a round robin where it's Big Brother players go on Amazing Race, we have Amazing Race people on Survivor, and then Survivor people on Big Brother?
I don't mind.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be a
Why
fun
not?
little like scramble verse season.
There's a
of
reason these
reality
people
TV.
get cast on
Yeah.
reality TV, and I'm down for it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And last thing I will plug is that you mentioned the casuals talking about Dancing with the Stars. I got to talk about it because I unintentionally stirred up a lot of drama between Tom Bergeron and Bobby Bones. I don't know how this keeps happening, but if you want to figure out what the hell that all means, be sure to check out the Reality Flash because, yeah, it's been a weird week. It's been a wild week and a weird week. So if you want to find out the context behind that, feel free to check that out. And of course, if you have any game ideas, if you have anything you want to send us, please do not hesitate to do so. RHAPBNB@gmail.com or hashtag RHAPBNB on social media. We are getting towards the final month of the game, basically. And so any and all game ideas would be incredibly appreciated. I'm very intrigued to see where this goes from here. If indeed MC was one of the most well-connected people from the quote-unquote majority, this could crack things wide open. And so we'll see who ends up, ensuing from that crack with maybe a bit of at least a block of people to hold for the foreseeable future. And no matter what happens, Liana and I will be back next week breaking it all down. Special thanks to the entire team behind the scenes at RHAP for packaging this podcast for your eyes and your ears, and Will from America for his fantastic theme song. We'll be back next week covering episode 9 and all the dramatic fallout from the split tribal at Survivor 49. Until next time, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.